Hello, welcome to our Monday edition of the Addiction Recovery Support Group. My name is Kelly Kirk and I am a peer support specialist in Richmond County, North Carolina. So welcome, and if you guys have any comments, you can just leave them in the comment section there and hopefully I'm going to see them. I'm going to log in here because I can't see them on my screen there. So, hi Kristen Little, how are you? So anyway, I'm going to read our little introduction, and then I thought we would talk about 7 things people in recovery wish you knew. So, okay, so welcome to the Facebook Online Recovery Support Group supported by the Sandhills Opioid Response Consortium. This is a forum where people in recovery can come together. We are here to encourage and support individuals in their recovery journey by sharing our own experience, strength, and hope. Our meetings consist of daily readings, meditations, devotionals, and open discussions. All recovery paths are welcome, and we ask that when sharing, you adhere to the rules and guidelines of this page. So anyway, my name's Kelly Kirk, and I work for Drug Free Moore County, and I have an office at the Richmond County Health Department, and I work with people to help them get into recovery, and also people that are struggling with mental health issues. So if anybody knows anyone that wants to get off drugs, or is someone who's struggling with their mental health or struggling with addiction, they can just call me. My number is 910-997-8424. And we have a really nice program. Right now we're not having this, but we do have recovery group every Wednesday from 5 to 6. Hopefully we'll be able to start that up again soon. But it's open to anyone who wants to come. And it's from 5 to 6 in the large classroom at the health department. So if you know of anybody who wants an extra support group or wants to try something new, I would recommend trying that. And so anyway, today I thought I would talk about some of the things that people in recovery wish that their friends and family members knew. You know, because I'm in recovery from addiction too, and there's a lot of things about being addicted that people don't necessarily know, and I feel like almost everybody has you know, a family member or someone, a neighbor or someone that you know, they know is struggling. And so, you know, you don't always know the circumstances surrounding what's going on. But I think the first thing that they wish people knew was that they didn't choose to become addicted. And I know for me and every single person I know that is or was addicted, they did not choose that. It's something that just happened. And it's like addiction, it's almost like an intruder that comes into your life, and it takes over every aspect of your life. And the bigger it grows, the smaller you feel, you know, and it's really a terrible disease to have. But, you know, when you're looking at somebody that's addicted, a lot of people might say, well, you know, you chose that was your choice. But that's really not true. I mean, yes, they may have chose to use the first time or to take that first drink or that second drink, but they did not, you know, ask for this hungry addiction and obsessive thoughts and these urges where they can't stop, and it's ruining their lives. You know, it's just a lot of people get prescribed, you know, medication for back pain or a surgery or dental work or something like that, and they're just doing what their doctor told them to do, take these pills. And, you know, pretty soon those pills are feeling really good and they want more. So they get more, and then the more they take, the more they're addicted. And before you know it, it's out of control, and they're not able to stop without help. And, over time, those pills affect the way that your brain functions. And it's just this whole internal battle where you shouldn't be taking them, but you're taking them anyway, and you're keeping it a secret, or, and all this dark negative stuff starts happening slowly and very sneaky. And then pretty soon, you're like full-blown addicted. So it's not anything that most people choose. The second thing that people in recovery wish other people knew is that addiction can happen to anyone at any time. It doesn't care your race, your color, your creed, your class. It doesn't care what your background is, or, if you come from a classy family, or it doesn't care. I mean, it can happen to anyone. It can happen to doctors, it can happen to nurses, it can happen to your cousin, it can happen to anybody. And that's like the really bad part about it, is it doesn't discern. It's no respecter of persons. It can strike anybody. And it's a huge problem in our country. And I'm concerned that we're not doing more about it. I mean, you have tens of thousands of people that are afflicted with this disease, and everyone's just like, oh, that's their problem. We have to help people. We have to help them get back on the right track. That's one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I know how it is, and I don't want people to suffer. I want them to get better, and if there's anything I can do to help them, I'll do it, But, yeah, addiction can happen to anyone. And the third thing is that there can be more than one reason why people get addicted, in the first place, why they're abusing drugs or alcohol. And a lot of times it's to cover up something that they're struggling with, or something that is happening in their lives, and they find that drinking or taking a pill or shooting up or smoking meth or whatever it is eases all those uncomfortable feelings that they're struggling with, and a lot of times people that abuse drugs have like childhood trauma, or they don't or they saw their parents using, or they and when you see your parents using, then somehow it's okay for you to do it, because we all look up to our parents. And if mom's popping pills, or dad's smoking a joint, then somehow it must not be that bad, So I think some people don't realize that it's so important, not to do that kind of stuff around your kids. But that's neither here nor there. But I think that is a big problem, because it's almost like generational. If your parents are doing it, then you're more likely to do it, and then in turn your kids are more likely to do it, and it just kind of cycles through like that. Another reason is peer pressure. That's like an old-fashioned one, peer pressure, but it's true. I mean, and I think a lot of times people try drugs for the first time in high school or middle school, and they see their friends doing it, and so they feel like they should do it, or they're the only ones not doing it at a party, so they try it. And once you try it, you've tried it. I mean, you're always going to remember that feeling. And like for me, I started when I was really young. I smoked weed like when I was 11. And so I wasn't afraid to try the next drug that came in front of me, because I tried that first one. And I feel like they build on each other. So, but once you try drugs when you're young, when you get older and times get tough, then that can be like an escape mechanism, because it takes away whatever you're feeling at the moment, and it gives you relief from your stress or whatever you're going through. And so it becomes an easy way to not have to deal with life. I'm just going to get high. I'm just going to have a drink. The drink will calm me down, or I think with alcohol, another big thing is it helps people feel more comfortable talking and stuff with their friends or at parties. I know I used to do that. I mean, I would drink at home before I went out so that I would be more relaxed and like happy and bubbly, you know. And so I think that's a big problem with drinking, is that, you know, people get this larger than life personality when they've had a few drinks in them, and so they're looking for that, you know, and that helps them to deal with life. I think self-esteem issues is another reason why people use. You know, if they're not feeling good about themselves, then, you know, like take a Xanax. You know, that's going to take the edge off. There's just so many pills out there now. There's a pill for everything. I get mad because when I try to watch TV, there's all these drug commercials on there. You know, it's like these people just don't care, you know. But anyway, another big one is mental health issues. You know, that goes hand in hand. A lot of people that are addicted also have mental health issues like depression or bipolar, or, you know, whatever it is that can help them ease the symptoms that they have from their mental health. Another thing that people in recovery wish you knew is that it's not helpful to bring up the past while they're rebuilding their lives. And I think that, you know, if you're new in recovery, first of all, no one's going to trust you. And I think that's kind of baked into the cake. You kind of have to give your family and friends space to build that trust again. But on the other hand, the family and the friends don't need to be bringing up all the bad stuff you did if you are getting on the right track. You know, like that can wait. You want to, and it's hard because, you know, you probably did a bunch of stuff to these people. You probably, you know, lied to them or blew up at them, or, you know, did some irresponsible stuff because you were using. And so now the family's looking at you like, you know, are you really for real? Are you going to do this time? Are you going to finally stop this nonsense? You know, so I think that you kind of, as the family or friends, have to put that to the side and just be supportive and not dwell on the addict's past, and just try to realize that when you do attempt to get into recovery, it's a tough choice and it's a big step. And it does take a lot of courage to say, you know, I've had enough of this and I'm going to try to fix my life, and I'm going to try. Because you have to start somewhere. And, you know, a lot of times people that are in recovery, they quit when they were at rock bottom. And no one's happy with them and no one's trusting them. But you got to start somewhere. So if the family and friends could just give them a little bit of slack, still be cautious, but encouraging would be good. The next thing that people in recovery wish that you knew is that they never wanted to hurt you or disappoint you. And I think you got to remember that a person that's consumed by addiction or alcohol is really not aware of the emotional damage that they're causing to others. You know, they are completely wrapped up in their addiction, and they are focused on one thing, and that is their next opportunity to use. So all they can focus on is just getting that next fix, and they're not paying attention to what they're doing to others and how they're hurting other people. And the addict's friends and loved ones suffer the most, you know, because you're going to be dealing with an addict that's probably defensive and explosive and acting erratically, maybe nodding off, you know, and falling around and being all loaded and stuff, and that can be aggravating, I'm sure, for the families and friends. But they're not trying to hurt you or disappoint you, and I can promise you that it's hurting them that they've let themselves get this way. And I think that there's a lot of shame in being addicted, and there's a lot of self-loathing and hurt, and I think that's why that they try to hide their use a lot, because they don't want to be shamed and they don't want to face up to what's happening. So they like just kind of internalize their stress and the pain that they're feeling, and then that can cause them to use even more because they're, you know, they're hurting. But I think that the big part of the recovery process that's important here is once the addict starts on their recovery journey, then they can kind of come clean and they can, you know, free themselves of all that. And but just know that, you know, they're not intentionally trying to disappoint you. It's just like a result of it. And then the next one is that while they were using or in their active addiction, they were still them underneath their addiction. And when you're looking at someone who's addicted, you're not seeing the truest form of that person. You're seeing a shell of them. And underneath is the person that you know and love, but they're like they're temporarily lost almost, you know, and addiction masks the inner self of a person. And I mean, I was that way for years. You know, I knew I was in there, you know, but I knew I wasn't being the real me. And, you know, you get used to that. And I mean, I know it's hard to see someone that you love going through that, but just know that they're still in there and they're still that same person, and they can come back from that and they can recover from that. They're just sick and they need to overcome their addiction. And the best way to help them do that is to be supportive. But once they get into recovery, like their true self begins to shine back through and they come right back. It's amazing. It's a miracle. The last thing is they need your support now and always. I think what recovering addicts want you to know is that they're going to need your love and support the whole time. And for me, one of the first things that I wanted to do once I got into recovery was make amends for everything that I'd done. That was something I felt really strongly about. And I eventually got to do all those things, thank God. So if you do have someone that you know that is struggling, that's addicted or drinking and denying it, or, you know, being mean to you to avoid the subject, just know that there's hope, and if they can get help, that's the best thing they can do. But the bad side is that they're not going to get that help unless they're ready to do it. But if you can have them talk to someone like a peer support specialist or someone who's been there and gotten through it, I think that's a really huge thing, because then they can see, you know what, this girl's been there too, and she made it out okay, so I probably can too. You know, or a therapist, or go to groups with them, you know, just be supportive. So just real quick, a couple of tips on supporting a loved one during their recovery. So here are some ways you can support someone during their recovery. Create a substance-free environment. Don't allow temptations or triggers in your home. Listen to them. Sometimes all a person in recovery needs is someone to talk to. Attend support groups with them, which is what I was saying. It gives a person in recovery a boost of motivation when they know there's people on their side. Be patient. Recovery takes time, discipline, and commitment. Know the signs of relapse. And that's basically they're starting to revert back to their old behaviors. They're hiding, they're lying again, they're sneaking around, and if they've done it more than once, they're probably on a relapse. But relapse is okay. I think people get discouraged about relapse, but I think relapse is part of recovery. It's almost like you get away from the drugs, but then you kind of come back, you kind of selectively forget all the bad stuff. But when you do it again and you relapse, it's like, yep, nope, I don't want to do this. I'm going to get right back on where I was. So I always tell people, like, don't get discouraged if you relapse. It doesn't mean you're a failure. It just means that you hit a bump in the road. You can still move on. You know, it doesn't mean you have to go all the way back to the beginning. So I think that was it. Yep. So that's all I have today, and thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. Have a good day.